Welcome to JustWannaQuilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, where we explore all kinds of things, stories about quilting, tools, field trips, maybe some famous quilters stop by, and, of course, a little bit of copyright thrown in just for fun. I'm Elizabeth Townsend-Guard, your host. I'm a law professor at Tulane University Law School. I also hold 2 fellowships right now, one at the Business School and one at the Newcomb Institute at Tulane, and I just want to quilt. So today, Heather Ensley talks to us about making masks and her idea of I think she calls it a Tootsie Roll mask. Let's talk with her. And just for historical purposes, we recorded this on April 21st.
I am Heather Ensley, and I'm from Pensacola, Florida.
Awesome. How is Florida doing?
We're doing well. We've been on a stay-at-home order from Governor DeSantis since the 1st of April. So I have not been out in a public setting since March 30th. So it's a different way of life for sure.
It is. We've been in the house. We haven't left since March 13th.
Yep.
It's kind of remarkable.
It is.
And what's your first memory of someone sewing or quilting in your life?
My first memory of quilting, my great-grandmother made me a sunbonnet Sioux quilt. And I remember as probably a young 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid, I would go to sleep every night and I would run my finger along the pattern of the sunbonnet Sioux and I would count stitches. And it was like that way of counting sheep and putting myself to sleep.
I love that.
I slept under a quilt for probably my first 10 years of life.
Wow. And a sunbonnet Sioux quilt at that. I think that's so amazing.
It is.
Seriously. I love it.
Yes.
And you're also president of the Pensacola chapter of the Modern Quilt Guild, is that right?
That is correct. I am the current president. Yes, ma'am.
Interesting. So you were all in with quilting before this happened.
Oh, yeah. I grew up in a household where we had quilters. All my aunts and my mom, grandmothers, everyone sewed. So it was always in my life at some point or another.
Interesting. And I want to talk to you. Tell me a little bit about your story with masks, and then you've got a way of making a mask that people may be really interested in. So I'm going to is there a place I can go to take a look at it while you're talking?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, sure. I have on a YouTube video an actual of me making one from the steps of cutting it out to actually getting it sewn together in under 2 minutes.
Wow. So tell me, where do I go to get to see that?
Okay. You'll go to YouTube. At YouTube, it's on my Unconventional Studio page. So if you look for my channel on YouTube, it's at Unconventional Studio, or it may just be Unconventional. I think it's Unconventional.
I went to
Studio.
something else. Okay, so what else?
I titled the video "Fastest Face Mask Tootsie Roll Pattern," like Tootsie Roll, like a little candy.
I'm not getting to it. Hold on, let's keep looking.
Yep, that was it. It was I can send you a link to it.
Yeah, why don't you send me a link to it? Tell me again. Let's try it again. Unconventional Studio?
Let's see. Unconventional Studio, and that is actually, no, that's not me. Maybe it's the Unconventional Studio.
See, you're making me feel better.
Yeah, because now I can't find it either.
That makes me feel better.
Yes, okay. Fastest face mask Tootsie Roll. And that looks like that's me. So look up fastest face mask Tootsie Roll pattern. And that top one, if it's got blue hair, then that's me.
That's you. I love your hair. Oh, your hair is great. Oh, this is so great. Okay. So, so awesome. Okay, well, let's see if we can, there you are.
Yeah. And basically what I did, I started sewing face masks April 5th when my husband asked me for one. He needed to go to the grocery store to get us some milk and some bread.
Yeah.
up until that point, so I was kind of late to the game of face masking making. A lot of the ladies in my quilt guild had already been making masks for about 2 weeks up to that point.
Me too. Yeah, that's right.
So I kind of jumped in late.
Mm-hmm.
When the first day of sewing, I had people requesting me make them. So I sewed one whole Monday 2 weeks ago and used the Deconess pattern.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, was so time consuming.
Yeah, you know what I don't like about it is sewing all the way around. That seems to me a waste of time.
It is. So it was in the middle of the night, one of those, middle of the night, can't sleep. I'm thinking about this so much. I just sat down and started thinking to myself, okay, how can I make it smarter, not harder? That, that old adage.
Oh, and you're using, I just ordered it. You're using a brother. Okay, so tell me what you do. So this is really interesting. I know nobody's watching what I'm watching. So you cut a fabric of 5 by 22 inches.
Yes, actually, I've modified it a little bit now. It's about 5.5, 6 inches. So a width of a bolt of fabric is typically 44 inches. So basically, I'm just cutting straight across, and then cut that section in half.
Oh my God, this is incredible! I just ordered a serger. I ordered that serger.
Yes, it's a great serger.
It is.
Yeah, it's broken down on me twice now, but I was able to watch a YouTube video and fix it. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it's a great little machine.
Wow, this is really fast.
It's very fast. You serge the top and the bottom seam, and then one middle seam.
And that's it? Are you doing any pleats or anything else?
No, because when you pull on the elastic, it will start to gather itself around the pieces of elastic.
Yeah.
So it actually makes its own gathers. You don't have to gather and make all those pleats. Because the way that, because I use a hair elastic. I'm not using a flat piece of elastic.
Yeah,
it's a round. It's a round piece of elastic that you thread the fabric through those little round pieces of hair elastic.
Interesting. And then how have people responded to it?
I posted it on my personal Facebook page, but no one's ever kind of caught on to it. I thought that maybe people would see it, and I don't even have barely 100 views on my YouTube, so it hasn't caught on.
Interesting.
But I've been able. I kind of made my own business model.
Yeah.
I have that entrepreneur spirit, and I decided I wanted to make face masks for the everyman. The ordinary man out there that has to go to their job and they're going to have to wear a face mask for a while. I wanted to be able to give them an opportunity to buy something that could get to them quickly.
Yeah.
Everybody in this time and age is used to Amazon. You get on Amazon, you place an order, it's on your doorstep in 2 days. I wanted to be able to make them fast enough so that I could get them to them in a timely manner. And that's why I came up with this pattern, because it's very fast. I'm pretty much now down. I can make, if the fabric's already cut, it will be sewn in under 1 minute.
That's amazing. Complete. That's really remarkable. Well, for those listening, what you're doing is taking between 5 and 6 inch wide and 22 inches. You're putting two ponytail holders on them, putting it together, and then zipping it. And your video is very easy to look at, but it's another way to make masks. I think especially if you're making these, if you have a lot to make and you know they're going to be disposable, that's really good too, because these are very fast to make. And I think it's so funny because I tried the Olsen mask yesterday, which was the pattern from AccuQuilt. And I was pretty psyched because it took me 6 minutes to make it. But this is under a minute. That's really remarkable if you, again, are making a ton of masks. This is a great, and the serger is amazing. Yeah. So I have to ask you,
because
they're
go ahead, completely machine washable now. Because with a serged edge, it's an overlock stitch, so it like seals the fabric down. It's really, really good.
Yeah. No, I think it's really interesting. Again, so if you put in fastest face mask, Tootsie Roll pattern, COVID-19 coronavirus, it will get you there. Your name is Heather Ensley, Ensley, if you're looking for it that way. But a really interesting and very creative way of thinking about it. So interesting. Then let me ask you, since I have your serger on the way, I just ordered it today. It should be here this weekend. Tell me a little bit about I'm a beginning serger person. It makes me nervous. Tell me about Tell me a little bit about sergers. Tell me about your brother. You got a 1034D, which is exactly what I ordered. Tell me sort of how you feel about all of that.
I've always loved a serger. Besides quilting, I've always made cosplay costumes.
Oh,
My
nice.
husband is the founder of Pensacola, our local Pensacola Comic Con.
Uh-huh.
So our whole lives together has been. We've made lots of costumes. We've been together 20 years now. And on our first date, he asked me, "Do you sew?" And I thought that was kind of odd for a question for a first date.
Totally. Yeah.
But he wanted me to sew him a Jedi robe to wear to Comic Con. So, I've been using a serger for years, and sergers are great, especially in the garment making, because of the way it doesn't overlock stitch. It actually has a cutter. It has this knife at the front of the machine, and that's what most people get terrified from, is that knife, because that knife goes 100 miles a minute as it's cutting the fabric.
Yeah.
You load the fabric through the front. That knife cuts it and trims your edge very straight and flat.
Yeah.
That trimmed edge goes under, it'll have two needles. The two needles, it's like using a double needle on your sewing machine.
Yeah.
And it does the straight stitch. But then it also has these two, what's called like a hook, and they hook, the two hooks like make the thread go around the edge of the stitch, so it locks it all into place.
Yeah.
Most people are terrified of that knife, but really keeping your fingers back, it's just like when you're sewing.
Yeah, you just
kind
get used to
of know
it.
where that barrier is and not to go any further past that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. I'm a very nervous mom, super nervous mom, but I had my kids sewing at 5, and she was always like, "Why did you let me use the ironing board and the sewing machine when you were you wouldn't let me go to certain people's houses?" I'm like, "Oh, you'd be fine."
Yeah, right.
We taught you, it'll be fine. Like, you can use an iron.
Right, yeah. All those power tools of life,
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could do that. Yeah. It's not a problem.
Exactly.
Interesting. So I'm gonna try to make ties with it, with the serger. That was my ideas, because I've been folding them in. I haven't used the ponytail ones. We have my little group. I have really big faces and really small faces, and so we were trying to make something that was more versatile for,
With this Tootsie Roll pattern, the length of it as a rectangle, it is longer, so therefore the ponytail elastics really just are kind of like looping over the ear. It's not even pulling elastic. I sent you a couple of samples so you can stretch them out and try them on.
I'm so psyched. It's really great.
I'm real petite. I'm like 4'10", and my husband's 6'3", and he's just a big, huge guy. And
we got that. That's us. This is totally us. And so, how does it work with each of the groups?
Yeah, with me, it's a little big on me. It's not real snug over the nose, but it still fits. It still hangs on my ear. It doesn't fall off. On my husband, it's a perfect fit.
Interesting.
But if you look at the CDC guidelines, and I think this is where there needs to be a paradigm shift in thinking. Everybody is hung up on wanting to wear a face mask. But if you look at the CDC and the terminology and the way they're branding it, that everyone needs a cloth face covering. A face covering, as their definition, is some 2 layers of fabric, preferably quilter's cotton or a tight weave fabric. So the mask I make, it doesn't really it looks still kind of like a face mask, like what a medical grade face mask might look like, but it's more of it covers your face. It covers your nose, it covers your mouth. And that's what the CDC is getting at, that when you need to go out in public, you should have a face covering.
Yeah.
And I think if people started thinking about it in that way, they wouldn't be hung up on trying to make perfect pleats or trying to make a nose clamp out of metal to put across the nose of their face mask. We just basically need to provide a barrier between your nose and mouth and the outside world. So I think if people started shifting that way and not getting so hung up on the term face mask. Face masks are great for the medical community. They need them, and they need those extra layers of protection. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, I just think it's so interesting. Well, okay, so you must stand by in case I have panic with the serger, but I just love your inventiveness and what you did with the mask. It was so insanely cool. How is your Modern Quilt Guild? Did you guys have were you part of the show? Wasn't there a show in Pensacola? You're in Pensacola, right?
Yes, Pensacola. The show actually was, I think, a week before the stay-at-home order
Right.
came, but it was very poorly attended, unfortunately, because at that point,
People were
everybody
panicking.
yeah,
Yeah.
people panicked.
Yeah.
So it had very low attendance, unfortunately. It had over 200 beautiful quilts hanging. It was a great show. I had 2 quilts hanging in that show, so it was really nice.
Yeah.
But just attendance was low.
Yeah, because we have the GSQA show that was supposed to. Some of them were coming to see you guys, and then they had to cancel ours because it was in April. So
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, very interesting.
Yeah, it's been an interesting thing. This was my first year to serve on the quilt board, and then to be president, I had a lot of responsibilities there. It's interesting always with group dynamics when a lot of our members started making face masks for free and donating them to the medical community. We have a local group, nonprofit group here in Pensacola that started and is very organized. They have supplies coming in, they get them out to the sewers sew them and then send the masks back. My quilt guild, I had made the executive decision. I did not want to get into the face mask business with the guild because I think there could become a lot of hard feelings if people were donating things and then masks maybe were sold as on the open market. So I had just shut down all comments in our Facebook group about face masks. I said, let's just keep it on topic and talk about modern quilting, modern quilts, that kind of thing. I just didn't want it brought up in the group because I thought there might be some hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a lot of backlash from that because my Modern Quilt Guild here, the Pensacola chapter, we have 54 members. 85% of them are over age of 60. So they're at home. They receive their Social Security check.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is, so they have the time, they have the patience that they can sit there and sew all day. For those of us that are, still working or maybe an essential worker or non-essential worker, we don't have as much time to make face masks and donate. And then we have some in our girls in our guild that they are out of work. They're have a hairdresser, and a couple of these people that have had their businesses shut down because they're non-essential, and so they've resorted to selling face masks. And so that has been a big division that has come up in our guild. That some are selling face masks, and like myself, I started selling face masks. I never jumped in and did any type of nonprofit or giving away face masks for free. I've from the very beginning have just sold face masks. I saw it as a way to supplement our income because the Comic-Con season, we can't sell tickets right now.
Yeah.
And there are not any people out there that are buying Comic-Con tickets.
No.
So,
yeah.
So to me, it's supplementing our income. It's paying some of our utility bills, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But within the guild dynamics, I've gotten a lot of heat for it.
Really?
I've even been called out as trying to
profit.
Profit off of something that's bad.
Misery.
That I had a feminist agenda to You
had a what kind of agenda?
A feminist agenda.
Feminist agenda?
Yes.
I think it's funny when people use feminist as a negative thing because I'm always like, yeah, of course I am. Is it? I don't know. That seems crazy.
It comes from another woman. Another woman's, yelling at me for having a feminist agenda.
Right. So, yeah. Well, sure. I think in some way, sewing for your family's well-being has been a feminist cause for a really long time. I mean, it's not a feminist thing. It's a keep your family safe thing. But I mean, women have brought in piecework to their house to supplement their family income forever. That is the nature of one of the things we do, which is probably the least feminist thing we do in some way. Super feminist or not feminist, I don't know. It's just what women do throughout history. So interesting.
But so there are those little aspects that have come out of this. And I've only been making face masks for 2 weeks now. So
right. It's a very compressed time. I don't know. I have gotten to the point where I figure So first of all, industry is making money off of face masks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're making money. These contracts are not out of the kindness of their heart. AccuQuilt is making money when they sell. I mean, they're giving out stuff too, but they're selling dyes. The fabric companies are making money. Again, they may be giving special deals to groups and things like that, and that's super great. And I suspect you would do the same thing, right? But I think, people, there's an economy to this, right? So if you can supplement your income, that's great. If you take donations for fabric, that's fine. If you give everything away, if you don't make them, like everybody's got to be in their own space of what's good for them. Right. I think that, we help a local artist here. I personally donate fabric to a local artist so that her profit margins can be greater, because I know that she's struggling in this situation. I think we all just try to do the best we can and be kind, and that's really all we can do,
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
And, it's just carving your little niche, trying to make the world a happier place. And like you said, just be kind to one another.
Just be kind. It's true.
That's it.
Well, I like it. You are very inventive. Anything else? Can we post this? Are you cool with me posting this?
Oh, yeah, totally cool with you. I appreciate you taking the moment to look at my video and see how fast we can make them.
I love it, and I can't believe you have that serger is like the most popular serger. The Brother 2034D is like a thing.
Oh, yeah, it is. I've had it for about 5 years now and love it.
Yeah, it's like the one to have. There's another one out there, the Juki 1000. See, I've been doing research, which is like between $1,200 and $1,500. People really like that one too, but that was a little expensive for me for a serger since I've never used one before. But if you're not going to get the super fancy one, the Brother, that is the one that people want. It's really interesting.
And it's been a little workhorse. I've been running it now for 2 weeks, 8 and 10 hours a day.
Wow. So amazing.
It has,
well, I wish you stay safe, and I really thank you for sharing this. Have you sent us a mask? We're trying to collect different kinds of masks while it's happening. You did?
Yes, I send it to the address that y'all sent me.
Yeah, at the law school. That's right. So, because we really, my fear, because I'm a cultural historian by training, is that the moment, like, this will all disappear and we won't have your beautiful masks and other people's examples and all of that. So I'm trying to sort of gather as it's happening, so we have a collection that we can then write about and share and exhibit.
Yeah, it'll be a huge historical significance, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And if people started making this Tootsie Roll pattern that I created, I would be thrilled to see it kind of take off, and people put their own spin on it, and get face mask out there to the everyman. Get everybody a face mask. That's what I want to see.
Exactly. All right. Well, I adore you. Thank you so much for coming. Let's do a full, real interview at some point where we talk about all the different things you do. Just once we get through this crisis, it would be great.
Okay. Thank you again for
awesome. All right.
Today.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
So you've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School, and I'm Elizabeth Townsend Gard. If you like this podcast, keep listening. Also, we have a Facebook group. Come join us. We talk about a lot of things. We also have an Instagram account. And of course, most importantly, I really hope you get a chance to quilt today.